Hey gang, welcome to Wareham, Massachusetts, home of Factory 5 Racing. Now they're the premier build-it-yourself car manufacturer in the world, and wait till you see the lineup of awesome machinery they have inside. Now they don't build just cars, they build the experience, right? That pride of ownership, of build. They also build a community, friendship. There are car clubs, communities, racetracks, track days all over the country. Guys having fun, girls having fun with the build and the ride and the drive. Come on inside, we're gonna meet Dave Smith. We're gonna go inside behind the scenes, see how they build these cool rides. Come on. Oh yeah, here we are, and there's the man.
Kevin.
Dave, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother. Been a while, huh?
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
Oh.
Hey, welcome, man. Welcome to Factory 5.
This is awesome to be back, man. I'm so excited. It takes me about a half a second to get completely jazzed just with what you have in the showroom. And it all started here back in what, 95?
Yeah, 95 single donor Mustang, you know, bunch of guys drinking too much beer, building cars. But yeah, when you were coming out here, it was maybe a decade ago, you know, we had grown so much, and I called you up and said, I really want you to come back out and see some of the changes we made. We built new buildings, got new robotics, new capabilities, and more importantly, new products.
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah, we got something for everybody. If you're gonna build your own car, we got it for you.
Well, I can see you're expanding in a number of ways, right? You've got your hot rods, you've got your trucks, and an entire new segment back in the corner that I'm super jazzed about. I think it's gonna explode.
And it's the same kind of customer, different kind of product. So if you want to build something, we got your back.
Man, this is great. I'm excited. You guys are gonna see behind the scenes here at Factory 5. Technology's changed. Their craftsmanship is through the roof. I can't wait to see how it all merges together.
Let's show you around the building.
Come on, man.
Let's go, man.
I'm biting, chomping at the bit.
So when we have tours, we always show people around. We start out with the core crew. We start with the showroom, but this is what matters, you know? You're building your own car, you gotta meet the guys that are gonna help you build it, right? This is a collaboration. So guys, we've got Kevin Byrd here for a tour, and this is the core crew. We got Maddie in the corner, Nicole. Mad Dog's our webmaster. J-Man in charge of all engineering. Travis, Dave, Sean in materials. Dano is tech genius, twin turbo Daytona Coupe built. Let's show you though, Jesper is where all these designs start on the computer on CAD. So, J-Man, what do you got on your screen here? Something fun.
I've got our new truck chassis here.
All right, all right. So we're the Cobra company, but guess what? We're building a truck, right? So 25 years, 30 years of building Cobra replicas and hot rods and race cars. We're about to transition into the truck market. Describe what you're doing here, because it's confusing to me.
So we're able to get the CAD from Ford for the cab and some of the main suspension components like the rear axle and the front spindles and brakes, and then we design around that. So I mean, we've built a whole chassis that'll fit the stock OEM Ford cab, and then it even uses the stock mounts and mounting locations for the cab. So we'll take this and all the tubes that we design on here, we'll export them to the tubing laser software so that they can get cut, and then all the plate steel gets flattened out and sent over to the plate laser.
That's the leap in technology. You know, the CAD system you have is what Boeing and all the big OEs are using. Now it's in your own hands, and then the CAD data from the OE, from Ford. So you're not out there measuring, getting close. You're getting exactly the native data. You're marrying up all your bits to it. And what I really think is awesome about this truck project, it's not a bunch of bolt-ons, right? You're not limited by what the factory produced. You're creating your own imagination, your own capabilities, and you're dropping the vehicle onto it.
Yeah. Ground-up design.
The power of CAD it underscores everything we do, from manufacturing, laser cutting, tube steel bending, welding, the fixtures in welding. Everything starts in Jesper's brain. Big engineering brain here, does it all on CAD. Out to the shop floor it goes, and we weld it and we make it in a reproducible and reliable manner. But
brain waves to electrons, right out to the manufacturing floor, and we're gonna head out there in just a second.
All right, let's do it, man. Thanks, Jesper. All right, so before we go to the shop floor, I want to show you the race shop, because that's where all the fun is, right? So if we're going to a race, if we're going to an event, we got to build the car here. And we do it right here in our race shop, 100% ourselves. It's small and modest. It's well equipped though.
Look at how this is connected to this.
That's what I love, car in the office, right? That's what you get to do when you have your own company.
If I could live and breathe in my shop, this is how I'd want to have it. That's how I want to live my life. My work and my play somehow all tied together like this. This is
I feel
great.
like a lucky guy that I can do this for a living. Building a car this is what our customers are doing at home, right? And for the longest time, I would talk to my customers and say, hey, if you build a Factory 5, it'll be a family project. You get along with your son, your kids, you do this with your wife.
This is between you and your son, right?
Yeah, I built
this is your
with my
own
son,
build.
Adam.
So you're living what you're designing, right?
It's cool that apparently I was being honest the whole time, because when I built this with my son Adam, we were kind of a little bit at odds. He's 18 years old. I didn't have anything to talk to him about. He's my son, right? And he'd come to work at Factory 5, cut the grass. We called him the head greenskeeper, right? But when we started building this car at home, it was a couple hours every night, and we'd start making fun of each other. I'd drop a fastener and say, hey, could you put your little Nancy hands down there and get that fastener for me? And we had jokes, and he called me old man. And at the end of this project, we're friends. And we became really close over this car. So make me an offer on the car. You won't take it. No, it's not for sale.
I can't even imagine. And it doesn't matter if you're going to build it yourself, with your family, with your friends, or the online community, which is there kind of helping each other through the builds, the camaraderie there. There's no bad way to build. And at the end of the day, look what you've got.
And by the way, it wasn't easy, right? We struggled through it, the build. And that's what makes it so great, is that sometimes something hard is worthwhile. And so, him and I have great memories on this. He gets back from college, we go hot rodding with it. Fun detour here in the race shop.
Let's see where it starts. Show me the race shop. Let's check out the R&D, because I know where that's all the cool stuff happens.
Let's go. You notice it's a restricted area. So you're special coming in here.
Behind the scenes, guys. Oh, yeah. So this is your kind of, first gen, beat it up, tear it up, do all your testing, engineering prototype here?
Yeah, everything in it, nothing's for sale, right? This is all test it, break it, abuse it, develop it, right?
Right.
We're going to talk to Jim and Owen, both mechanical engineers. Jim is in charge of all R&D. So my job is to give Jim the design specs, and it's the most unfair job in the world. I ought to set Jim up over here, because I'll tell him, he knows my secret. I give him the most unreasonable design goals. With the F9, I said, I want an exotic, front engine sports car. No such thing, right? There's GT cars that are front engine, but where is the exotics, or Lambos, mid-engine cars, but I wanted an exotic front engine. And he comes back 3 days later, I got some ideas, and look what happens, right? Genius. So Jim's the brains behind R&D. He's got great muscle with Owen and Colby in this area. But yeah, everything in here is developmental. So this is the first of the new XT1, Raptor on steroids. So it's been
I see
abused.
a lot of steroids right here, and this is pretty cool. God, the travel, the shocks, the springs.
Oh yeah, hardcore, and it's been destructively tested. Jim's personally been driving this thing 8 feet in the air in the cranberry bogs. We've set up jumps. So yeah, it's pretty bad, eh?
Well, it's cool because you guys are ready to ship these out the door here real shortly, right?
That's what's kind of fun about your visit here, is it's at the very, headwaters of an all-new adventure. We don't know where it's going to go, but yeah, we're really committed to this. We developed it. We spent 2 years developing it. Let me introduce you to Jim, because Jim's the brains behind this, and he can tell you what he does more than just the XT1. Here's an old, this is our race car. We ran a minute 59 at VIR in this car at Ultimate Truck Car Challenge, one of the top 10 cars. There wasn't a car in that top 10 that wasn't a $200,000 GT car. And then this little guy with a Subaru motor. So Jim does his engineering work in here, builds fixtures and tooling, so you can see how the tooling and stuff gets developed before it goes to the production floor.
Let's meet the brains behind all this.
Jimmy Dane.
Good to see you again, Jim.
Good to see you again, Kevin.
Awesome, man. I love the new R&D shop. Looks like you can kind of keep everybody out of your space.
Great space for doing our work.
Owen, is that right?
Yep.
The newest engineer I hear?
Right, yeah, Owen's he was an intern for us, and now he's a full-time engineer.
Awesome. So as an engineer myself on OE, we can get quite separated from the real nitty-gritty of the parts, right, up on our computers. But you're right there. These guys are right here. How do you knit the R&D, the engineering? How do you pull that together? How does that work?
We really kind of do the entire process, start to finish, and including the design on the computer, the testing, the building of the parts. Even a lot of we're right in here. That's why we have the fabrication shop as part of the engineering shop, and then we actually will go out, put the pieces on the vehicle, test it, build the vehicle the first time, that kind of thing. So we really kind of cover the whole gamut here.
And I can only imagine leaping into this truck sort of segment, right? It's a huge leap from lightweighting and race cars into, heavy duty, robust, and all about strength and durability. How's that shift been for you guys?
It's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
What's your experience?
So what I've been helping these guys do is doing a lot of jigs and fixtures. I feel like one of the big engineering challenges is, you can make anything once, but making the same part every time, that's where it gets tricky. So what we do a lot of is make jigs. That way our welding crew over there, they can make the same part every time. They just drop the pieces in. We use like special clamps that hold the holes in the certain places, using the plate laser, using the tubing laser, really make sure everything's accurate and repeatable.
So I imagine, especially in this area, this segment, it's all about finding those points of failure. So who gets the fun job of finding that out?
Again, it's both of us. I mean, we do a lot of testing in SolidWorks first, and then we'll actually, Jim will actually build the prototype and we'll test it.
Right, so we'll actually test chassis on the computer, test the stiffness, the strength, that kind of thing. Then we'll recreate that test in person to, just validate it. And then we'll take it out in the field. In the case of an off-road truck, you got to get it airborne, you got to jump it, you got to beat it up.
I like that airborne word.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's you do get everybody wants to be the guy testing it, right? But there's enough testing to go around. So,
and then you get that feedback loop where you can kind of take that lessons learned, get it back up into your shop, send it back down here for the latest and greatest.
Yeah, there's definitely been some changes since the original truck to production. For sure. I mean, it's a learning curve.
There always are. You always learn something.
I love that expertise. I love that evolution. Like the bar is always getting raised higher and higher. I think you guys probably have the coolest jobs that I could imagine.
It's great.
I have to say, I'm kind of jealous.
Yep.
All right, well, we're going to take these guys and show them some of the rest of what's happening here at Factory 5.
Cool.
All right,
Thanks,
cool.
guys.
Yep.
Dude, let's check out the welding shop. This is my favorite shop. I mean, my great-grandfather was a blacksmith, and he was put out of business by the car, and I was brought back into the smithing business with new tools, new technology, but I'm a blacksmith, right?
You got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, it is. So this is where we cut the steel, we weld the fixtures, the steel and the fixtures. I want you to meet Nate Johnson, the plant manager here. Hey, Nathan. Nate, Kevin, Nate.
Good to meet you, Nate.
Nice to meet you too, Kevin.
All right, man, walk us through. I see some brand new equipment here. This looks pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, so like Dave said, the backbone of Factory 5 really is the welding department. What you see here is our laser cutter. This is our Mitsubishi laser. It cuts all of our flat steel. So what Jesper designs everything on SolidWorks, puts it into a file, sends it out to the system, and we cut it. So this is step one. We also have, from this laser, we also have our tubing laser down there, which cuts everything, all the different tubing, roll cage stuff, anything that needs fish mouths and stuff.
Well, that's key because it's got multi-axis. You can get all the fish mouthing for the tubes. You can get complex shapes, and they're exact. Right? Because it's computer controlled. And, so now,
by bringing that in, we were able to change the way we design things and actually do some really cool stuff that we weren't able to do when you're using an end mill and your fish mouthing. It's not exact. We're able to do the same thing, so it has pickup points that it can actually be a self jig. Yep,
perfect fits. Because anybody that's done fabrication, I've done tons in the shop and the garage, right? You're kind of fettling and you're kind of getting it in. And when you start getting gaps like that and you're welding, things start moving.
Yeah.
And then when you put it in a jig like this,
correct.
Now you got a solid foundation.
So that's what we did is, so the stationary jig, again, designed on SolidWorks. It's very robust. It's made to repeat the same part over and over again. That's really the name of the game here, is repeatability. I want to be able to produce the same part that Noah's doing every single time. So a car 1,000 chassis ago, I could take this piece and make all this front end and give it to them if, God forbid, they were in a front end collision. And that's where we're at, is we want to do that. So stationary jig, all the stuff we cut gets placed over here, gets positioned, gets welded about 30% in the stationary jig. Then it gets pulled out and put into one of our chassis spin jigs.
Well, I can see right here the fixturing and the jigs. They're not toys. They're solid built, machines and equipment.
Have to be. To be able to repeat over and over again. I mean, you're talking, there's over 10,000 chassis made of just the Mark IV alone. So repeatability over and over again. We have to be able to do all that.
This is your final welding station.
So this is the final welding station. Avery's in this one. We try to burn 4 or 5 frames at a time. They will now take and weld that last 70%, get everything finished, and then it gets QC'd, and out to powder it goes.
Right on. Let's go see some of the next steps.
Sure, let's do it.
Nate, thanks, man, for taking me around.
Cool. Thanks, brother.
All right, so you saw the welding shop, right? And I want to show you the molding shop, but I mean, if you think about what you just saw from Jesper's screen to the CNC cutter, I mean, imagine here's a piece of steel. We got tick marks in the part that show where to bend it. So the part carries its own instructions with it, right?
Right.
It carries, and it is the drawing, right? And it comes from the computer. Imagine machining this with a plasma cutter. Oh, a little bit of grind, I gotta deburr this, I gotta machine this. This is the tools of modern craftsmen. Dig on that part. I mean, all laser cut, perfect.
Right, it's a
cutting.
puzzle piece ready to fall in place.
Now, we do this over in molding, and that's what I want to show you next, because molding has typically been an old world technology. You know, hand layup, lots of hand work. We CNC cut the material, we have master craftsmen laid up, and then we CNC trim the finished part.
Well, that's the marriage, the craftsmanship with the technology. And you know what's important about that body? That's what you see.
Oh, it's along for the ride, but everybody sees it. You're right.
Yep.
So let's go check out molding. Kevin, man, when you were here last time, we'd be standing in a farmer's field.
I remember.
Yeah.
This is huge.
All brand new. So we built this building during COVID. We had some time on our hands. We weren't going to car shows. Built the building, brought in some new robotics, kind of integrated the best technology of wet layup with the best craftsmen. We got the best guys, right? So they needed the best tools. We had the best guys, the best tools, and that's what we're doing here. This is really kind of 3 parts of the process. I mean, you've seen a lot of different molder companies out there, and hand-laid fiberglass works. What we do is we CNC cut the fabric. We use that cut fabric to drop into the molds. Right now, the guys are laying up Daytona coupe parts, and then we take those parts out and trim them in the robot over there. But I'm really excited about the process.
That's a cool way to put all it together.
It is,
right? It's creating more of a perfection out of a cobble type of
fiberglass
process.
is a tough process, right? So using the best tools makes it a really good part because it's just along for the ride. We're not using fiberglass for strength the way old kit cars did. Our chassis do all the work, right? The parts are just there to look good. So these guys make them look good, and the robotics make them reproducible and reliable.
All right, well, let's go see the future.
Yeah, let's show you the future. All right, Kevin, this is the future, all right, brother? So you saw Jesper's screen. We struggled for the longest time. We always did mechanical engineering on the chassis, right? Suspension, chassis, pickup points, engine mounts, and all that. But body shaping, 3-dimensional shaping, it was something that was being done by the big companies a long time ago, but by us, we just brought this in. So this is our new F9. It's a prototype, but every part on this car, you saw in the R&D shop, we got every part in this car was done on the computer, and the body was done on the computer. We never saw a part before we hit print, had a 6-axis milling machine, mill out the surface and make a plug for us. So this was made by machines, starting with Jesper's brain, by machines to this part here.
Man, that is pure sexy.
That is good, huh?
I love the carbon. I mean, this is amazing. I can't wait to see just that continued evolution. You know, just in the last so many years where you guys have come and to see the tools, the technology, how you're leveraging them to produce things like this, sky's the limit.
Well, we've got a great partner in Carbon. You know, this is one of those parts that not a lot of people can make. It costs a lot in the upfront investment on the technology, but once you do that, then you can make just about anything. I mean, think about it. We can make any shape we want without that manual labor cost of months and months of hand shaping. Now, that hand shaping goes from 3 months to 3 days. You know, it's milling and some finishing work. So it's pretty cool.
Right on. All right, we're gonna see how this all comes together.
You saw molding, you saw welding. Let's put it together.
Right on.
So basically, we call it chassis assembly. Really, it's packaging. You know, we're taking, we can show you a frame over here. This is a frame for our Daytona coupe, our Gen 3 coupe. I think we're gonna drive that over to lunch. This is the foundation of the kit, but on top of this, we bend and form aluminum, and we put it in the foot box, the passenger cockpit, the rear deck. This is a Cobra behind us. This is really putting it together to ship to a customer, but when a customer gets it, he's taking the body off, the aluminum out, and starting with a bare frame, suspension, rear end, fuel lines, brake lines, battery lines, you know, building the car up.
You know, you mentioned the body's just going along for the ride, the chassis is doing the work, and I mean, it shows right here. Look at the structure, right? Look at all the triangulation, the stiffness, all the engineering on the real part of the vehicle, right? That's connecting all the wheels, the suspension, the motor, all that torque and drive, and then the sexy goes right on top.
It's what I'm most proud of. I think that, you know, our company has been known for its chassis engineering, and, you know, we've Factory 5 racing. I mean, we started racing in the early days, and there were not a lot of kit car companies that were racing, and we started racing. And this is a full-on race car chassis, and so our suspensions, the geometry of our chassis, the strength of our chassis. I mean, I had a kind of an anecdotal story about Cobra strength, but if you compare this chassis to the original Cobra, it's about 15 to 20 times stiffer than the original chassis.
To me, that's what stands out, because all of us like to cruise, we like to go places, but there's a lot of us that love to drive. And these are the kind of machines where you can get that retro, that vintage look, right? That certain style, but then you can haul some ass.
You have to count on the fact that, yeah, it's a cruiser, but when you want to drive fast, it should be capable. And there's nothing worse than a car that looks fast, but it's not fast. Our cars look fast, but they deliver on the promise. So we saw the chassis put together, the boxes. Chris, Alan, Matt, the guys in here are doing a great job putting 4,000 parts into a box for one kit, 10 kits a week. 40,000 parts leave this building, all right? And Eric's here picking up cars for Stuart. We've got a great relationship with a shipping company, but this is really kind of, it's the end of the road for our work, and it's the beginning of the road for our customers' work. So customers will be taking these kits home when they get them and starting to build from the bare frame all the way up, and you can see some kits here.
Well, let's see, I see a Troy, I see a William, I see a Philip, I see a lot of happy campers.
Alex is going to have a good day.
That are about to have Christmas show up at their door.
Yep.
And it's not even December. Man, this is great. Now, this is the start of the project, but it's the start of the experience, the memories, and the end goal. The project comes together like it's all married in one.
I always tell these great analogy stories. You know, if you have kids, you understand this. Having kids is a really, really hard thing, but it's the experience of a lifetime, right? So if you were to describe to somebody all the things that involves having kids, they would never have one. Same thing with building a car. You build your own car. It's hard. It's hard to spec out. It's hard to build. You got to come with a lot of creative ideas, running gear, paint schemes. But in that process, it's so fun and it's so rewarding. And when you're done with a car that's not just a car that was off some showroom. It's a car that's your personal car. And that's where I get the greatest amount of satisfaction knowing that these are going to go out in the world and this car is going to become a Craig Calmer. That's his car. It's not a Factory 5 anymore. It's a collaboration between him and us. So I really have had fun showing you the building, and I'm proud to show you all the changes that we've made since you were here last.
It's exciting to see all the progress.
Thanks, brother.
You guys never stop. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. So thanks, Dave. See you guys out there having fun.
Thanks, guys.